I am here with Andy Goldstrom. I can't even. The energy is like popping off the screen. Do you feel it right now? Like, do you feel it? Because if you don't, you need to. Andy is with Mid-Course Advisors, and he truly helps impact so many companies in Atlanta and beyond. Andy, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
This is great. So I've known Andy for a while, through interactions with Techstars, an amazing cohort right here in our city. And yeah, it's great whenever our paths get to cross. So Andy, let's start with the what. Tell everybody in a more expansive way, what do you do?
Yeah, at Mid-Course Advisors, we help companies grow faster and profit more. It creates opportunities for more wealth and happiness for business owners and executives. Who wouldn't want that?
Yeah, sounds like a win. Those are checking the win columns in any business's book. Now, with companies in various phases of growth and development, obviously you specialize in a certain segment. Can you talk about where you and Mid-Course Advisors really shine?
Absolutely. We focus on the middle life cycle of a company, the mid-course.
Yeah.
We're not the startup phase, we're not the end phase, even though we've been involved in both of those things, but we try and focus where the adjustments that need to be made are most impactful. And it's interesting because in today's day and age, there's a lot of change going on, and if people don't make the appropriate adjustments, then their businesses don't succeed as well. 4% of businesses achieve $1 million worth of revenue a year.
Wow.
But yet only 1% of them are able to maintain it for greater than 2 years.
That's huge.
And the reason for that, I think it's pretty big, and the odds are against companies, right? And so I think the reason for that is you have a lot of companies that start with visionary founders who are great salespeople who, when they start running the company, they lose some touch with their customers or the industry or the competition. And then there's some companies out there that want to grow and are doing fine, but they don't know how to grow more or scale more. They want to do better. They want to profit more. They want to grow their revenues more, and I can help them. And what contacts and people that I talk with who I end up engaging with tell me is I don't understand the market that well or the trends, and I really can use some objective advice.
Wow.
We're working really hard, but we're not making as much money as we used to, or not as much as we want to. We have a plan, but it's really not an actionable plan that we can move forward with. So those are some of the things that people struggle with that I could add help to.
So Andy, we've talked about the what, but let's talk about the how. How do you work with companies?
Yeah, companies typically engage me when there's one of those pain points we discussed about, or issues that they have a challenge with, and I certainly have an initial discussion with them to see if I can be of assistance. If I can't, I can, or I can refer to them to somebody else. But what I typically do is gather some information in advance. So I have a questionnaire that's very tailored, that brings out information about the company and where their heads are, not just the hard facts. And then I look at their financials to understand their financials and their pipeline, and I'm able to look at the positioning of their company. Then what I do is I typically have an off-site for a day with a leadership team or a specific set of leaders where I'm able to teach and learn. And then I help them put together a plan that can be implemented. And one of the things I'm proud of is I'm not just a sales guy. I've always been an operator and somebody who follows through, because I want to make sure that things stick.
That's huge.
And so there are a lot of companies will put me on retainer to help coach them to make sure that the metrics that they want to achieve do get achieved over a period of time.
Yeah, the investment that they've put in can see itself long term and manifest into those great results, scalability.
Well, it's like anything else. If you want to lose weight, you can go on a diet, but you can get back in old habits very quickly, right? But if someone's, well, I don't do that. But if someone is holding your feet to the fire, who is only looking after your best interests, and doesn't have an agenda or worry about what it means politically within their company, results happen.
That is such an excellent point. Let's dig deeper into that. We touched on the why. but I want to hear some like tangible use cases of ways that you and mid-course advisors can help.
Right, so there are 4 areas that I really focus on with companies.
Okay, so leadership, operational excellence, scaling, and differentiation.
Right.
Yeah. So let's start with leadership. Something that's been really resonating with people in the workforce lately is leading even when you're not in charge. So do you touch on like a leadership mindset throughout the entire organization, or do you work with really the leadership team, the executive team?
It could be both.
Mm-hmm.
And what typically happens is, and I mentioned a visionary who started a company, or it could be somebody who got promoted within a larger company, and they're trying to bring things to the next level, and they haven't managed teams before in a large organization, and they need to know how to navigate, they need to know how to inspire their teams, they need the tools and inspiration to be able to adapt. And I've been working with a technology company in town that's pretty well known that actually has a leader who stepped up from a CFO role, and I've been coaching this person to actually lead and inspire the team more, and it's made a difference. It's built this person's confidence in knowing what to do and how to approach things, and it's made a difference in terms of just in that leadership role alone, her turnover has reduced by 50%.
That's huge. I love data. You and I, we watching, truth is in the data. So that's really cool, that impact that you've been able to help with. That's awesome. Operational excellence. Let's touch on that. How can people and companies in that phase be more operationally excellent?
Well, operational excellence has to do with being able to make things repeatable.
Okay.
And so if you, in my background, I was part of 2 Inc. 500 companies where we grew, we took advantage of trends, we moved quickly, and were able to disrupt industries. We were able to take advantage of opportunities. We were able to cut our losses quickly when we had to, but most importantly, we were able to make work repeatable that was repeatable. And some people think of a call center application as very repeatable, where you can go as far as nowadays, artificial intelligence will allow you to repeat a lot of that, some of the non-core activities, so that the senior customer service reps can actually focus on problem solving and interacting with customers, right? And so for operational excellence, there's a book called The E-Myth by Michael Gerber, where the people should run the systems and the systems should run the business. Mm-hmm. And so if you can create those systems, you have repeatable outcomes, people can focus on serving their customers better, and you can scale the business more.
I love that. I want to drop a note, drop a pin right here to link to that book in the description of this video, because I haven't read it, I need to read it, and I'm sure all of you out there would love to read that too. The third one, remind me what that was?
Differentiation?
Yes, differentiation. That speaks for itself. I mean, it's, you have to differentiate in order to stand out from your competition, but do you have any added thoughts around that one?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of things that are very logical in this business. I'm not a rocket scientist. I don't pretend to be.
What?
But because I've been an executive at 2 Inc. 500 companies, I've been in roles and situations that others haven't, and I've been able to adapt and create methodologies and use methodologies in my own experience and working with other companies that help. And we differentiated ourselves, and I've helped other companies differentiate themselves, and it's really about being so specific it hurts.
Wow.
And if you can be as specific as possible, like I work primarily with real estate related companies, engineering, which are, could be brokerages or engineering or construction or architecture, because that's part of my background with my first Inc. 500 company, and with Techstars I'm in the technology area. So it's not to say I don't work with others, but I promote myself as a technology and real estate guy.
Love it.
And people who don't truly differentiate themselves don't stand out. It's that simple, and they don't develop the expertise that they need in order to stand out and provide all the thought leadership that's necessary to stand out.
That's so true. The fourth one
is scaling.
Scaling.
If you want to grow, you have to be able to scale.
Yeah, you've got to think about the total addressable market and how those actions that you were talking about that you can automate can truly be automated, and let the people handle the people skills and the technology handle the things that can be automated.
Yeah, there are 4 aspects to that. Strategy, got to have that first. People, execution, and then cash. And so the strategy has to be understanding the trends and trying to create a good plan that'll help you move forward. The people involves getting the right people in the right seats to align with the strategy, but it also involves all the tools and the communication protocols as a company grows. If you're a 1 to 3 person company, you sit together and you talk together and you're together all day long, everything is out in the open. But once you get, there are different tranches where the protocols have to be different. When you get from 8 to 10 people, all of a sudden, and a certain revenue amount, all of a sudden you have to have certain other functions which require certain other types of communication.
Yeah.
And then when you get from, and the studies have shown when you get from 1 to 3 it's something, then when you get to from 8 to 10, then it jumps from like 40 to 50, and then if you go over to 100 and beyond, and what it does is it involves more meetings, it involves uses of tools like Slack, it involves more reporting, and you have to be able to understand how to guide people in that and lead people in that area in order to scale. Because if you don't, if you're acting like it's a 1 to 3 person firm and it's not, you're not going to get there.
You will feel some friction on multiple levels.
The execution, I'll keep simple. That has a lot to do with the operational excellence we just talked about. And then the cash is you need to pay attention, even if you're cash rich, which a lot of small companies are not, you still need to look at something called a cash conversion cycle. So it's an industry term that basically says from the time that you are investing in an opportunity or a product or a service to the time that the money comes in, what's your burn rate and how can you manage so that you have enough cash on hand in order to scale, because scaling takes investment and it takes money.
Wow. Wow.
So that's scaling. And I help companies do that because I've done it.
That's so great. And so let's talk more about that. Let's talk about your background.
Yeah.
But I want to give people a taste for like what that really was like, you know? What was that like? I
was fortunate. I mean, you create your own luck, but I was in a position where I was able to have an impact on 2 companies that grew very fast, grew very profitably, and it was challenging yet interesting. But we created our own success, and the reason was we saw a couple of trends. In my first Inc. 500 company, it disrupted the commercial real estate industry, and the trend was commercial real estate was shrinking because the economy was shrinking at the time, and outsourcing became more prevalent. So we created a model that actually created an integrated outsourcing model for corporate real estate that is now copied and used within the industry extensively. We were the first to do it.
Boom.
So it was, and we didn't do everything right, but we were able to take advantage of that market opportunity, show a greater value proposition to the C-suite than was typically known at the time, and that created the opportunity for us to actually really grow rapidly. That's
great. When you can recession-proof your company, business, idea, model, you really stand out.
Yeah, I guess it was a little counter-cyclical in that way, in that companies still had real estate to manage, even though they weren't growing as fast. And what happened was we were in a position, the reason we became an Inc. 500 company was we got established, and then when we came out of the recession and companies grew, we were well positioned for that as well. And nobody confuses me for being a native Southerner. I came down to Atlanta in 1998 to help grow that company, and Delta Airlines was my first big client.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's what created a hub for me, and I've been here ever since.
Awesome.
Well, what I focus on is the amount of rapid change that people need to go through, that if you're running your own company and you're not out there working with other companies and seeing what the trends are, you can lose your perspective. And so, and if you're an executive, you can't just Google it. You have to understand it and live it and get counsel on it. And so the compass that actually helps me understand how fast things change is this. Right, this is my computer from 1979. It's a Sharps, it's a Timex Sinclair.
Wow, can I hold it?
Yeah.
I'll be very careful.
It has 8K of RAM, suitable for all of your computing needs.
Whoa, this is amazing. What year did you say this was from?
1979.
Holy cow.
You'd hook it up to a black and white TV and a tape recorder. That was your hard drive.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Y'all, oh my gosh.
So an average laptop like this one is 1,000,000 times faster than this.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
So
the power we have in the palm of our hands now is so mind-blowing.
So what that has done with the advances of technology, it's actually it's brought down the barriers to entry for companies. So in 2002, if you were in Silicon Valley and wanted to start up a software company, it would actually, for a decent opportunity, it would cost you $15 million.
Wow.
That was because of the cost of the hardware and software to be able to support a software development, not just the people. The cost of that today is like $100,000 in comparison. Same thing with prototyping. With 3D prototyping that you can do, like Collider, our friends at Techstars, it costs next to nothing to actually prototype, some kind of product or service, or product, and what that does is allows more companies to gain traction, but then they have to understand how to scale.
Right, differentiate and scale, and notice trends. Let's talk about trends and what you see.
There are 3 big trends that I stay on top of, and I follow changing trends. And the idea, like it was with the Inc. 500 company I was with, was how do you stay in front of those trends and how do you adapt to them? And most people who are watching this, and I'm sure you have heard what a SWOT analysis is, right? People look at strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. I don't follow that. I look at what I call SWT, which is just strengths, weaknesses, and trends.
Nice.
So the idea is know what trends are out there and know what your strengths and weaknesses are to actually exploit it, and then figure out how to do it. There are 3 primary trends out there. One is naturally technology, and I mentioned it just a minute ago. The cost of hardware and the transmission speed has gone so far down, or the cost of it has gone so down, and the speed has gone so far up, or the capacity has gone so far up, that the ability to actually leverage technology and create technology applications has obviously boomed, and that's not going to stop. Second thing is demographics. So there are 80 million baby boomers who are going to be retiring in the next several years, and there are 84 million millennials. So if you are in healthcare, more people are going to need financial services who are baby boomers. If you're catering to millennials, realizing that there's folks want to live in the city and have all the amenities in the city and the housing in the city, you can adapt to those trends from a demographic standpoint, because the demand will be there, the jobs will be there. Look what's happening in Midtown with all the millennials, with the jobs in the tech sector, right?
Absolutely, in Old Fourth Ward and Grant Park.
And the West Side's going to be moving, right? And then the last one is regulation. So regulation is, you have all these smart things in your home now, refrigerators and thermostats and other things. Well, that goes through the net. People can actually hack that and see what you're doing in your house or take advantage of things like that. Things like drones, things like social media, any IoT solution. Those are things that are going to need to have ongoing regulation for privacy concerns as well as regulatory concerns. Even the driverless cars. You know, if I had to do it all over again right now, my wife's a lawyer, but I'm not. I would try and get my law degree, because I always wonder what's going to happen when the driverless cars come out. And they are, because there's so much being invested in them. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of when.
Totally.
But what happens when a driverless car hits somebody and causes an accident? Who's at fault? How does the litigation process work? That's not all been figured out yet, but it'll be an opportunity for people.
That's true.
And an opportunity for regulation as well.
And still in the cybersecurity, digital privacy space, it's a frontier, right? As you can see with Facebook and the fallout and the inquisition that Mark Zuckerberg just went through. I mean,
that's right.
The questions that some of those people in places of power are asking, some were really great, but some were embarrassingly not well educated. So,
well, what's been said is you have a lot more power because you have a lot more information in your hands, but others have a lot of that same information in their hands, so that could be used against you as well as for you.
That's true.
And that's, you know, and we're figuring out where those lines cross, I guess.
Man, you have truly dropped some just truth bombs, information nuggets, and it's left me wanting more. I know that everybody watching is like, dude, I've got to talk to this Andy guy, like, stat. How do they do that? Where do they go?
Sure. I'd be happy to talk to anybody who's interested just in networking or dialoguing, or if there's a specific need. I can be best reached at my on my cell phone, which is 770-633-2260. That's 770-633-2260. My email address is agoldstrom@midcourseadvisors.com, and there's also a lot of information on my website, midcourseadvisors.com.
Great. So we will have midcourseadvisors.com as a URL you can click right below the description of this YouTube video that you're watching. And if you're watching on social media, you just click the link, pop over to YouTube. It'll be there. Andy, thank you for all that you're doing to help both in this community and truly globally. I know that your insights and advice and expertise are well received, and so many companies and people benefit from that. So thank you for being here. Thank you for your time. Everybody watching, please go to midcourseadvisors.com, connect with Andy. And Andy, thank you for being on Connect.
Thank you for having me.